What's up guys, AD back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video here on the channel, and in today's video everyone, we are going to be discussing the reroll guide here thanks to the Prydwen.gg website. So hopefully this video does inform you all on how to reroll for Nikke Goddess of Victory, and we'll be discussing reroll targets towards the end of this guide as well. But before we get started everyone, make sure to leave a like on this video as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel if you would like to stay tuned for future Nikke videos, as of course the game will be released in just a few days from now, as well as be sure to check out channel memberships down below if you're interested in further supporting the channel, and a huge thank you to all of the members that have joined so far. But with all of that out of the way, let's get started here with the reroll method. As we can see here, Goddess of Victory Nikke has a built-in guest account system, which means you aren't forced to create an account for each attempt at rerolling. Now the forced account creation became popular recently in some gacha games, but thankfully Nikke still allows you to just use guest accounts. Moving on, we have sadly there's not a delete account option, and still we were not able to test if clearing cache will also wipe the guest account you've created, or if you will be forced to download a huge amount of assets. This will be known only after the release, and we will update the guide after that. Instead, let's talk about the salted email method, which we actually tested and can confirm it works. So post launch, we'll be able to test if clearing the cache here on Goddess of Victory Nikke will wipe the guest accounts and ultimately make the reroll process easier. So I'll be sure to update this reroll guide if it does happen to work, but nonetheless the salted email method is pretty easy, and let's dive into it. So moving on here, we have salted emails. Important, Google email accounts are highly recommended for rerolling. This is because Gmail accounts can abuse the salt system, which basically allows you to use the same email multiple times for registration, so you don't have to continuously make Gmails over and over again. Now to use a salted email, you can try adding a plus anything between the name and the @Gmail portion of your email address. For example, if your Gmail account name is myname@gmail.com, a salted email would be myname plus anything @gmail.com. Now the string behind the plus symbol can be any letters or numbers of any length. Still, to easily keep track of rerolled accounts, we recommend using numbers. Any emails sent to the salted email will be redirected to the email without the salt used. Now if you're super serious about rerolling, we suggest to create a sheet or a text file where you will keep track of which salted account got what pools. So it's pretty self-explanatory here. You basically just take your normal Gmail address and add the plus icon after your initial Google address as shown here in the example, and after the plus symbol you'll be able to add any letters or numbers, and you'll be able to continuously use your original Gmail address without creating additional accounts. Now moving on here to the image examples of signing in and creating an account. So we have here, when you first install the game, make sure to press the accounts button. As you can see here on the left hand side of the sign in screen, we do have the create account button with the arrow pointing, so make sure to click here first, and next here make sure to enter your email and password, and to clarify, not the password you use for your email but one you want to use for the game of course, as well as at the end of the email make sure to add the +1. This will be your first rerolled account, and let's hope the number never goes into the 3 digits and the RNG will be on your side. So for example here you have the initial Gmail address, and then you do add the plus symbol as well as a number or maybe any letter or phrase you would like to add. But for the sake of the guide and tracking the accounts easier, Prydwen does suggest to add a plus symbol as well as a number. So we can see here in the example they did add +1, and for your next reroll account you would move on to +2, +3, and then so on. As well as for the password here, make sure you do come up with a password that you'll be able to remember for Nikke Goddess of Victory, as of course this will be the password you do need to use to sign into your account. Moving on here, we do have an example to show how your salted email should look on your second run if you happen to reroll again. So compared to the first example, you still use your initial portion of your Gmail address, but after the plus symbol you will add a 2 here to clarify that this is your second reroll account. And then moving on to the third reroll, if needed, you'll add a +3 onto your Gmail address, and so on. Moving on here, once you're done with the reroll process, the process itself is described below. Navigate the menu screen and press the accounts button. As you can see here on screen, we do have the account button, and of course this would be available on the top right hand side of the home screen here on Nikke Goddess of Victory, and then you would click onto the pop-up menu and head into your account. Next up here, we have the next screen will have a logout button that will take you back to the lobby, and you'll be able to create another account. Just change the number at the end of the email, of course, like mentioned previously. As you can see, we do have the logout button here in the account settings, so you would click this and then proceed to create another salted Gmail and account here and continue to reroll as needed. With this method, not only are you keeping all of the accounts you've rerolled with and can come back to them at any time when you, for example, have enough of rerolling, but also it's the best method for those with a limited internet transfer, as it means you only have to download the game once. Moving on to the reroll process here, everyone. One reroll in Nikke takes about 10 to 12 minutes, so it can be said it's about average compared to other games, and sadly you are forced to play through the tutorial without the ability to skip any parts. Also, auto skill and auto aim features unlock after you finish the tutorial and gain freedom of the movement, forcing you to play manually for the few battles in chapter 1 every time. Furthermore, considering that the enemy spawn is random within a stage, it could be troublesome to reroll using multi-instances, as you may end up shooting at the air and not enemies on some of them. So basically, just do what the game tells you until you reach the points around the 10-minute mark where you finish chapter 1, and the game will ask you to do your first 10 pull, and the tutorial 10 pull guarantees that you will receive 1 SSR rarity character. And of course, we did a few tests and never got 2 SSR while doing the tutorial pull, but it may be possible to obtain more than 1. What's great is that the tutorial pull isn't limited like it was in the closed beta test or technical test, and you can obtain any SSR rarity character from the 3 main factions. Only the pilgrims can't be pulled. Now, once you do the tutorial pull, it's time to gather the pre-registration rewards, so make sure to grab them. And with the 3k gems you just obtained, you can do another 10 pull on the general banner, and the SSR rates in the game are very generous, sitting at 4%, so the goal is to reroll to get a good character from the tutorial pull and another good one from the second 10 pull thanks to the pre-registration rewards. So ideally, you'll be starting with at least 3 SSR characters, 2 great SSRs from the 2 initial pulls, and you'll have the pre-registration reward in Diesel, which is great for the early game, but eventually you will replace her, but definitely a nice unit to start with. So thankfully, the rates are still sitting at 4% here on Goddess of Victory Nikke. I honestly didn't expect anything less coming from a shift up game, so I'm very happy that the rates are staying the same here, as 4% is honestly very generous, and shift up seems to be keeping their generosity heading into their next game with the Nikke. Now moving on to the units to aim for, we know how the reroll process works in Nikke, and the only question that remains is who should we reroll for? Now if you want to make your own choice, check out the tier list, click on any character you fancy and check out her review. Now the tier list is actually unavailable at this time, and it will be available later tomorrow, which we'll overview it in a next video as well, so make sure to stay tuned. But nonetheless, we do have some recommendations here on the reroll guide. Now first up here, we have the Prydwen route. We were not able to confirm whether Prydwen will be a beginner mission reward like she was in closed beta test and the technical test. Now she is among the best damage dealers in the game, so if she is still free and you want to aim for other roles to create a balanced team, here's who you should get. Now Litter is the best supporter in the game that has a unique ability to repair the covers behind which your character hides, and nobody else can do that. So that's a very unique ability here thanks to Litter. So the reroll guide here suggests if we do manage to obtain Prydwen for free once again here come official launch, you definitely should consider going for Litter here while rerolling to take full advantage of this combination, as of course Prydwen is one of the best damage dealers. Now good alternatives in the supporter role. To start, we have Pepper here, which does happen to be the best healer in the game. And moving on, while Volume is classified as an attacker, she is the best offensive buffer. And last but not least, for Novel here, while she is a defender in the name, in reality she is a debuffer that will make your enemies hate you. So definitely some amazing options here above, and of course make sure to prioritize as needed. As you can see, the roles are often misleading and you'll have to look at the skills to find out what the character actually does. So very typical of shift up here, as they've done this quite a bit in Destiny Child. So come launch, make sure to take full advantage and be sure to read all of your character's skill sets, as their archetype may mislead you a bit. it. Now moving on to the defenders, everyone. Ludmilla is the best defender in the game that not only can taunt enemies but also buff herself and her allies, allowing your team to survive in situations they would die from an enemy barrage. Now a good alternative in the defender role would be Noah here, as you can see here on screen, and just be aware that Noah belongs to the Pilgrim faction, so it's not possible to pull her from the tutorial banner. Now moving on here, everyone, we have the full damage route. So to start out, the best defense is of course a good offense, so we're doubling down and aiming for the best attacker in the game. Usually in the team you will use at least 2 attackers anyway, and of course we do have Scarlet here, which does happen to be the best attacker in Nikke, hands down. In terms of the damage test we did, she always came on top of everyone else when it came to murdering the enemies. Just be aware that she does belong in the Pilgrim faction, so unfortunately it's not possible to pull her from the tutorial banner, although we do have some good alternatives to Scarlet, and of course you can aim for one of these to pair with Scarlet in the future. So first up here we have Heron, which does happen to be the strongest out of the 3, while Drake and Snow White are on similar levels. Just be aware that both Heron and Snow White belong to the Pilgrim faction yet again, so it's not possible to pull them from the tutorial banner. As for the supporters or defenders, our suggestions are the same as in the previous route. So of course, based on the reroll targets here, everyone, you should be able to target units like Litter, as well as the other alternative supporters here such as Pepper, as well as Volume, and of course Novel here, thanks to the tutorial and of course initial multi-summon, thanks yet again to the pre-registration rewards, and of course you'll be able to target a unit like a Ludmilla. So make sure to keep this in mind and target as needed here, thanks to the recommended units from the Prydwen guide, and hopefully we do manage to obtain Privacy for free, as the Litter route would definitely be an amazing option to go through. But anyways, everyone, that'll pretty much do it for the reroll guide here for Goddess of Victory Nikke, and I'll be sure to update this guide as needed if anything does change come post launch. So make sure to let me know in the comment section below, everyone, which units you will be targeting. Honestly, for myself here, I would definitely be interested in going with the Privacy and Litter route, if of course Privacy is available for free. So we'll just have to wait and see come post launch, and I'm definitely very excited for Goddess of Victory Nikke, and of course the rates do seem very generous yet again here in Shift Up's next gacha, so hopefully we'll all be able to pull the targets we are aiming for. But before you go, everyone, make sure to leave a like on this video if you did find it useful, as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel, and of course check out channel memberships down below if you're interested in further supporting the channel, as well as the links down below to my Twitch channel in where we'll be streaming Nikke Goddess of Victory come launch, as well as to my Twitter accounts if you would like to stay notified for updates here on the channel and live streams. Also be sure to join my Discord server linked in the description box below if you would like to come chat there about Nikke as well. But with all of that being said, I'll catch you all in the next Goddess of Victory Nikke video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.